Okay. Welcome, everybody. Today is Tuesday, June 11th. It is 7:01 p.m. and we are convened as the Provo City School Board of Education. We are meeting at 280 West, 940 North in Provo, Utah, and we'll begin with a roll call, and we'll start with Melanie.
Melanie Hall, board member.
She's joining us virtually. Thank you.
Okay. Gina Hales, board member.
Meg Van Wagenen, board member.
Wendy Dow, superintendent.
Jennifer Partridge, vice president.
Terry McCabe, board member.
Lisa Boyce, board member.
Okay.
Devin Daly, business administrator, was I supposed to?
Yeah, no, that's right. I'm sorry. My bad. And we'd like to excuse board president Rebecca Nielsen, who's not here with us tonight. Okay. Do we have a motion to convene a public hearing regarding our boundaries with Heather Lane and Osprey Park?
Is that what we have at 7 o'clock? I thought it was the budget hearing at 7, no?
No. Boundaries. I move that we convene a public hearing to discuss boundaries on Heather Lane and regarding Osprey Park.
Okay. Thank you, board member Boyce. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, board member McCabe.
Stop.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Okay. We are now in our public hearing on the boundary changes, and I will turn it over to Superintendent Dow.
So we have two areas that we need to address our boundaries. One is on Heather Lane because we had conflicting information between two different departments as to what that boundary was. We would really like to take all of Heather Lane and put it into the Sunset View boundary. Right now, the students are attending Spring Creek, Franklin, and Sunset View Elementary, so we just want to incorporate all of those students into Sunset View. The second place is Osprey Towns Park, which is a new development. There are currently no students that are living in this area. But the boundary between Franklin Elementary and Sunset View Elementary runs right through that development and actually splits some homes. We just want to take that entire development and place that into the Franklin Elementary boundary. It's important to note that these boundaries will be reevaluated in the coming year with our boundary and feasibility study, so that they could shift at this time next year as well. But this would be for the 2024-2025 school year.
All right, thank you. All right, so now as part of the public hearing, this is the opportunity for public input. And if you are here to give public input tonight, whether it is for this, whether it's for our budget hearing that is coming up, or for our business meeting tonight, we do have forms in the back that you would fill out a form, and then you come over here and turn it into our secretary, Bonnie, right here. Do you have anyone here for public comment tonight on these boundary changes? We do not. Okay, we've not received any. I don't see anybody raising their hand on that. All right. And we will be voting on this at our June 25th meeting.
That's correct.
That's correct. Okay. All right. Then do we have a motion to adjourn this public hearing?
I move we adjourn the public hearing.
Okay, thank you. We are adjourned. Okay. So, next we have to start all over, right?
Do we need to wait?
Can we start? Okay.
Okay, she can start.
Okay.
She posted it. Perfect.
Welcome. Today is June 11th. And Tuesday, June 11th, it is 7:05 p.m. and we are convened as the Provo City School Board of Education and Municipal Building Authority. We are meeting at 280 West, 940 North in Provo, Utah. We don't need to do a roll call. Do we need to do a roll call?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, we're going to begin with a roll call once again, and we'll start again with Melanie.
Melanie Hall, board member.
Gina Hales, board member.
Meg Van Wagenen, board member.
Wendy Dow, superintendent.
Jennifer Partridge, vice president.
Terry McCabe, board member.
Lisa Boyce, board member.
Devin Daly, business administrator.
Okay, and we'll excuse Board President Rebecca Nielsen tonight. Is there a motion to start our, let me make sure, our public, yes, our public hearing of the Provo City School District Municipal Building Authority and Board of Education?
I move that we convene a public hearing as the PCSD Municipal Building Authority and Board of Education.
Okay, thank you, Board Member Van Wagenen. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Board Member Hales. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, wonderful. And I will now turn it over to our Business Administrator, Devin Daly, for the hearing.
Perfect.
Green? Matt? Green? Okay. So we are going to talk about the budget for this year, the final budget for FY24, which we will vote on in a couple weeks, and the tentative budget for FY25 tonight. Some of the highlights, we're not going to spend a ton of time on it, but please, if you have any questions, let me know, and if we have any public comment, we can also listen to that. So our tax rates this year, right now, the projected rate is going down to 0.007284. What that means is that if you have a $100,000 home, you multiply that by 55%, and then the remaining part, so the 55,000, you multiply by the 0.007284. That is the portion that comes to the school district. That does not include the city, and it does not include Central Utah Water or the county. So this is just the district portion. And the district does have the largest portion of property taxes in the city of Provo, but there are also other revenue streams that the other entities have that help pay for it. Those rates, the rates that went up are really the rates we have no control over. The state rate, that's the basic program, which is the amount that each district is required to provide for the K-12 that is funded through the Uniform School Fund. That's the local portion of that funding. And so the legislature will set that each year. It's higher than last year. The reason could be variable. Some of it is that the income tax is going down, so there's got to be a shift somewhere. And then the rest of our rates have really either stayed the same or gone down based on the valuation that has increased for commercial and high density housing, but has decreased for residential. So the next couple are just basically an impact, a financial impact on each $100,000 for a home and what that funds. And then we're going to skip to the budget. The budget this year that we're asking for expenses is $253,897,610. This is all inclusive of all of our funds that we're required to report on. The Education Foundation is not a specific district entity. They are their own financial entity, but they are a related entity close enough that they are required to be reported and a budget approved each year. The pass-through taxes fund is also that charter school levy and the redevelopment that is pulled out each year that we still have to report as revenue and expense, even though we never actually receive that money. And then the other ones are just our basic funds, general, student activities, food services, debt service, capital projects, municipal building authority, and our new internal service fund, which is our self-insurance fund. And so those budgets are based on projections and money that has been projected by the state that we will receive based on our enrollment. Those numbers may fluctuate after October 1 counts are complete, and we will make those adjustments as we go and bring it to you next June for final approval for the FY25 budget. And this is just our differences between the FY25 and 24 budgets. The FY24 budget is much higher. Part of that is construction. Part of that is ESSER funding that has helped fund some one-time things in the district, and some other programs that have had to be prioritized in each of the schools. This is by function. So you can see that the instructional piece of our budget, along with the capital outlay, is significantly higher than 50%. So almost the 101,000, that is the amount that is spent directly for services to students. The 11 million below that is for student support. So social workers, psychologists, counselors, anything that is direct. So those both together are directly for students. And then the capital outlay below is for our buildings, the buildings that are being finished, mostly Wasatch, and is going to be the biggest portion of that, but Shoreline and Timview will also have a significant portion as those programs or projects are getting finished. And this is just by object, showing that the significant portion of our budget when we're not building is certainly salaries and benefits, but the building does take up quite a few of the resources provided by bonding, both in the lease revenue bonds and in our GO bonds. The general fund is where you'll see all of our operating. That's every government entity has a general fund where most of its operations come from, other than those things that are specifically restricted to other funds. This is where the bulk of our property taxes are, our state revenue, and most of our federal revenue. The only other fund generally that gets federal revenue is food services. That is specifically reimbursed by the federal government based on whether students are free and reduced, and then a lower rate for all lunches. And then this shows the expenses by those functions. Is a graphical representation of what we've spent and where our resources are going each year. And you can see some of them have gone down. Some of that is because we've eliminated positions here at the district office. Other is because we've realigned what their duties are so that it fits within one of the state required functions that we use. And that is an industry standard across all government entities. Those, especially school districts, of course, because it's mostly for school districts, but there are other functions that are used across governments. Again, this is just a line showing our main revenue that has peaked there in the FY24, which is our interest and our federal revenue from ESSER. And so we'll start going back to normal levels so we can actually find what our baseline is to make sure that we are generating the appropriate amount of tax revenue and the state revenue. These are our expenses, our large item expenses for technology and for some of our other regular licenses that we renew each year. But the bulk of it is for technology. This is based on quotes that we've received. When we actually go purchase it, if there are differences, we will come to the board to report that. The foundation, again, is a discretely presented component unit. They're part of the district. You can't, it's its own entity, but when you look at it from a high level, it's hard to see the difference between them or where there's the split, because the district does have some responsibility in the management of it. And so that is still reported on our government-wide financial statements at the end of the year, but we are also required to provide a budget to the state for it. And that is fairly new. It's only been in the last 5 years that the state has required us to load the foundation budgets in with the district. Then you have the Student Activity Fund. The Student Activity Fund is the school amounts that they bring in for their fees for extracurricular, curricular, and co-curricular classes, and any kind of fundraising and interest that they may have based on money that they have invested in the PTIF, which is not very big. Most of that is used in the same year that they receive it, so there's not a lot of cash going back and forth. The only difference in this one you can see in FY21, which was the year of COVID, there was a decrease in those expenses and a decrease in the revenue. And that was just because a lot of those activities were canceled, so a lot of refunds were made. Our pass-through taxes, again, that is just for the charter school and the RDA. That's incremented off of our taxes each year that we don't see, but we still are required with government accounting to provide that information. This is our Municipal Building Authority Fund. It is a separate legal entity. We have our own tax ID, but the board is still the same as the Board of Education, which is why we do a dual public hearing for both organizations. We also have the option of gaveling in and gaveling out for each individual organization, but it makes it a lot simpler if we're just doing one at a time, or if we're doing one with both of them. And this just shows, you can see the $112 million in revenue in the fund balance that we had at the beginning of when we received the revenue, and we've just spent that over the last 3 years. Our debt service fund, this is where we service all of our debt service that is funded with GO bonds. This is not for the lease revenue bonds. That's not allowed to come out of the debt service. This is just for those government bonded debt that we actually go to the voters for. And when we go in and set the property tax rates, we set it based on what our needs are for our revenue, for our interest and our principal payments each year. And then occasionally we'll get some extra because collections are higher one year, and the way that they actually budget that is they budget it based on a 97, depending on this year is on a 97% collection. So if it ends up coming higher, then that balance can be used for debt or for technology purchases within the district. And we have some debt right now. The debt that we could pay off early, we can't because it was refunded and they don't allow us to do any early payments. And then this shows our actual, the bottom is GO bonds, the top is all of our debt, and it just shows our outstanding principal for the next 18 years. Our capital projects fund is where we run all of our maintenance of our buildings other than just basic custodial at the schools. This is our team that does all of our maintenance for plumbing, electrical, carpet that we do ourselves, along with any expenses that are tied into the GO bond debt that we issue for the buildings. It also, you'll see under the property and equipment, we're not really buying $11.5 million of equipment, but we have to report an expense in the capital projects fund for the debt payment for the municipal building authority. So that is recorded as revenue over in the municipal building authority and expense here in the capital projects fund. And then these are our projects that the Capital Facilities Committee approved for our schools. That we went through the list several times, and I believe we targeted, especially with Kyle and Steve's help, on the projects that were the most crucial. Our biggest one this year is the front and south sides of the building at Canyon Crest, where there's some significant help that is needed. So that building is under construction right now. We started that a couple weeks ago. The Food Services Fund, that is a standalone fund. It's not supplemented by the district. This is purely by the sales to students and parents, and the federal revenue, and then the state liquor tax revenue that we receive. The state liquor tax revenue is restricted to child nutrition expenses, so that is required to be there. Our fund balance is going down because we're required to bring it down to a more manageable level. We're only supposed to have 3 months of revenue. During COVID, we were fully reimbursed for every meal that was served. Plus, we had a really difficult time hiring and retaining people because of several reasons. One is the unemployment. They were receiving benefits for not having jobs, and people just were worried about being out in the workforce for a little bit. But that has eased up quite a bit. Our self-insurance fund is an internal service fund that we have to provide all of the claim payments for our health insurance and for our employees to receive, and we pay the claims each week for all of those. So any questions from the board, and then we can turn it over to the public. I do want to thank my team. My team has been awesome in preparing this and getting it ready so that we can present a good finished project to you.
Any questions? Go ahead, Lisa.
Well, first, thanks to Devin and Steve and Woody, who worked so hard on this. I really appreciate it, and for answering all of my questions. I just wanted for the public to maybe have you comment on the slide page that is the total FY25 and 24 final budgets. It looks like we're significantly spending more than we're bringing in revenue. And you've explained that to us, and in study session, kind of a reminder of why it looks that way. And I just wondered if you would just make that clearer.
Correct.
Again.
And a lot of that, I mean, in the last 5 years, we've issued GO bonds for Timpview and Municipal Building Authority bonds for Shoreline and Wasatch. That when those proceeds come in, we put all the proceeds and deposit them all, and then that just creates a large fund balance. And so as we spend the fund balance, we don't show new revenue, we're just showing a decrease in the balance that we've received.
Thank you. I just thought it'd be good to clarify that.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments from the board? All right. So now, as part of our budget hearing, it's time for public input. I have not yet received any public input forms for this portion or for this hearing, but is there anyone here who would like to do so? All right. Seeing none, there's no one here to speak to this. We will be voting on this budget later in our business meeting. And for the public, if you want a little more in-depth, I mean, Devin did a great overview today, but we have talked about it in the last couple of our board meetings, and so you're welcome to go back on our YouTube channel and watch those if you'd like more information as well. So, do we have a motion to adjourn our public hearing?
I move we adjourn our public hearing.
Okay, thank you, Board Member Hales. We are adjourned. Our business meeting is scheduled to begin at 7:30, which means we will convene then in about 5.5 minutes.
Where's the music?
We're all for a dance break.
In karaoke, we got microphones.
Just so you know.
Wait, are we having a dance party?
Well,
I
we
know,
were.
I don't think
We just had one. Oh wait. We're still on camera.
Well.
We're just having a dance party with the public.
I think it really boosts morale.
We're fun.
I think it does. Are we?
I mean, you had a smiley face
Well,
smiling back at you for your
so
good
it
work.
is. That's because you keep on making the gummy
I
clusters
can't
have
control
babies.
them. I can't control a baby.
You can too.
I stopped on my way to this meeting specifically for these because I was like, I need candy.
You're the best.
I don't like the chocolate. What's the best candy? Oh yeah, Nerds gummy clusters.
They are really the best.
They really are the best. Let's have a combo.
I think I'm starting.
One time I was
They're not
sitting
that bad.
I'm bored of seeing.
and I was like, oh man. What was
I'm
that?
not when I'm bored of seeing, like when I'm waiting. Yeah, okay.
Okay, I keep typing fiscal year as FY, and it keeps coming out as FU. So I don't know exactly how to. Keep myself. The Y and the U are right next to each other. What if I accidentally send it with? Anyway.
Yeah. I was in the boardroom.
Oh, now that song's stuck in my head. What does the fox say?
Sorry. That's all I can say.
They're not that bad, but
Good. Well, keep track
Wait.
of
She was here for the study session. I know, she was sitting there. Her bag's still there.
She was here for the whole discussion earlier around negotiated agreements and everything, yeah.
I did it again.
Your phone is out to humiliate you. Now I think you're doing it on purpose.
No, I'm not. I promise. It makes me feel guilty whenever I type it. Okay. I have now maxed out on sugar. If those have babies again, I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, me too. Actually, I'm trying to keep them out of sight. I should
So
pack
let's
them
just
up.
keep
I'm
them out of
afraid if I
sight.
even touch them, I'm gonna have fun. You can't. You can't have them.
We'll begin in 1 minute.
Okay, that clock was slow before last time. Now it's fast.
That's a little bit fast.
Yeah. It's
Can't
really
get it-
it's
can't get it right.
I don't know what's happening.
Okay, my clock says 7:30.
Oh yeah, it says 7:30. We're ready to roll.
All right, we want to welcome everybody. Today is Tuesday, June 11th, and it is 7:30 p.m. We are convened as the Provo City School Board of Education and Municipal Building Authority. We are meeting at 280 West, 940 North in Provo, Utah, and we will begin with a roll call. We'll start with Melanie.
Melanie Hall, board member.
Gina Hales, board member.
Meg Van Wagenen, board member.
Wendy Dow, superintendent.
Jennifer Partridge, Vice President.
Mary McCabe, board member.
Lisa Boyce, board member.
Devin Daly, business administrator.
Okay, and we'd like to excuse Board President Rebecca Nielsen, who is traveling back right now from a trip with Dixon Middle School that they were just in DC. So, do we have a motion to convene our business meeting?
I move that we convene the business meeting.
Okay, thank you, Board Member Boyce. Right? Yeah. And do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, Board Member Hales.
She said that.
Okay.
Oh,
I said it earlier, but let's go ahead and
Okay,
have
I will
the
do that.
motion specify that as well. Thank you,
Oh,
Bonnie.
yes. I move that we convene the business meeting as the Provo City School District Board of Education and as the building Municipal Building Authority.
Okay, thank you. So, motion made by Board Member Boyce,
Second.
second by Board Member Hales. Okay, thank you. Oh, yes, okay, all in favor, thank you. All in favor of convening this meeting? Aye?
Aye.
Okay. We are now in our business meeting, and we will begin with some opening remarks by Board Member Meg Van Wagner.
Okay, it's nice to see everybody. Okay, to open our meeting, I just wanted to share some things that have kind of been happening related to the district that have made me smile recently. This is something I like doing daily, especially when I kind of get stuck in the weeds of like my mundane schedule with kids or work or things that are stressing me out, is stopping and thinking like, what is bringing me joy today, even if it's something really simple. But recently, the week after school got out, I loved seeing and hearing a little bit about our district leaders. They gathered over 2 days and for a Provo City School District Leadership Institute. I love seeing them gather together, working for the benefit and the good of our students and building relationships with each other. The theme was Welcome, Educate, Inspire, Building a Culture of Collaboration. And this really made me smile, and I really love seeing that. So thank you to our administrators, our specialists, and leaders for your dedication to our students and to our school district. Second is Camp Big Springs is happening. I loved seeing the video footage of the campers arriving to camp. Like seriously, it made me so happy. And I'm sure part of that is, like I've shared, I have a 5th grader this year who has not stopped talking about her camping list and what she needs to do to prepare. But I just want to thank everyone who's made this happen. I just really appreciate the opportunity for our 5th graders to experience learning outside of the classroom and to connect it to the world around them and to kind of build this camaraderie with their classmates and across different schools. And I just think it's really wonderful. So especially after the 4-year hiatus, it's exciting. So just to kind of close, there's a lot of hard work that goes on behind the scenes in education, and it is summer, but things are still happening, work is still going on, and I just am really grateful for all the different educators and the different roles across our district and even across our state that really, in my experience so far this year and a half being on the school board, have our students' best interest in heart. And I just really hope that we as a school board, as community members, as parents, as families, can really move forward in contributing to this work with that in mind and just knowing how hard our educators are working for our students.
Thank you, Meg. Yeah. Appreciate that. All right. Next, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance, and Deputy Superintendent Jason Cox will lead us in that.
Please stand. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. Now we are at the Community Connections portion of our meeting. And before we do our Provo Way Awards, just want to announce if anyone is here to give public input. If you've not already done so, if you could please get a form from the back there and fill it out and then turn it in to Bonnie over here so that we're ready for that portion. But first we will start with the Provo Way Awards, and I'll turn it over to Jason Cox.
Thank you for this opportunity. We again have another wonderful group of people that we're recognizing. Now we are in the summer, and so I don't blame any of them for not attending tonight. We have some wonderful video of their work. We're recognizing tonight Emma Hernandez, Mark Van Wagner, Lisa Edwards Bringhurst, Aurora Yenchik, and Melissa Brown. So we're excited to recognize these people. Again, they do great work for us here at the school district, and we'll go ahead and roll the video. Yeah. He said the video that he was sent only has one person on it. It's 30 seconds long. Okay.
Oh, shall we come back to this portion?
If that's okay,
Yeah,
yes,
we can
we'll
do
get
that.
it to you.
Okay, we'll come back to our Provo Way Awards in a few minutes. We'll go ahead and go to public input. When I call you, if you'll just come up to the mic and state your name and what boundary you live in or how you're associated with the district, and then you have 3 minutes to speak. Christy Giblin.
Hello, my name is Christy Giblin. I teach at Dixon, soon to be Shoreline Middle School, and I'm the president of the Provo Education Association. And I just wanted to take a minute and thank our superintendent and district staff and our school board for a really pleasant negotiation experience this year. For those of you that know me, now this is not my first rodeo. I've negotiated contracts through 3 different superintendents and 3 different business administrators, and I think 4 or 5 different HR directors. And so I've had a lot of different kinds of experiences with negotiation, and many of them were unpleasant, and then things started getting better as we changed leadership. But I will say this year was probably the least stressful negotiation that I have ever taken part in. And I also appreciated, as I talked with some of you on the district steering committee, hearing you repeat over and over the priorities of the school board to retain high quality teachers and to support teachers and making this a destination district for teachers and students. And I really feel like the district negotiation team led out with that. Devin provided us with an offer better than we were anticipating. So I was kind of stunned and didn't quite know what to say when she presented her plan for the longevity increases for our teachers. And then also I had a long laundry list of working condition issues that I'd hoped to work through, because I thought that I knew the state budget situation, and I thought better working conditions is maybe the best that we could hope for this year. So, but we worked through those too. So I just want to publicly acknowledge the effort that went into this year's negotiated agreement and the support we had from the HR department all year, as well as Superintendent Dow. If you had asked me this 1 year ago how I was feeling about stepping into this role again, I was like, well, I don't know, new superintendent, that's a big unknown, and I ain't getting any younger. So it does get tiring to feel like, you work a second full-time job, but working with Superintendent Dow has been a great experience this year, and I love how we've been able to solve problems directly through her and through HR and the district cabinet. So thank you for choosing good people to lead our teachers, and thank you for your support for everyone that works in this district.
Thank you, Christy, so much. I will respond for the board and just say we appreciate you, and we appreciate all of our teachers, and so glad to hear that message is getting through, that we really do value our teachers and want to take care of them. And thank you for your comments tonight. We appreciate that. That is the only form I've received. Was there anyone else who wanted to give public input? All right, we will close the public input portion of our meeting. Are Provo Way Awards ready yet, or shall we move forward? Okay, we're moving forward. Okay. Remind me if I forget to come back to it. So, okay. We'll move to our business items, and item number 1 in this section is consideration to approve our privacy policy. And I will turn it over to Superintendent Dow.
So this policy puts in place legislation that was recently passed by the Utah State Legislature. It just requires that we give notice to parents and students that basically they are required to use the restroom or locker room or private space at a school that aligns with their biological sex. And that if they are seeking a specific accommodation, that then they can reach out to an administrator, and then that administrator would help assist with that in collaboration with their parents. And that the policy also provides provisions for false reports of these kinds of violations occurring so that we don't have that situation happening as well. So.
Okay. Thank you. And do you want to explain why we're voting on it tonight?
Yes. The reason we're voting on it tonight is because we did receive a complaint that was submitted to the state auditor's office that was found to be erroneous. We did receive a letter from the state auditor's office that stated that we needed to have submitted a privacy plan to them and that this policy would count for that, but we needed to do that within 30 days of that notice.
Okay, thank you. So, just to hit the deadline we've been given,
yes.
right? Yep. Okay. Is there a motion to approve our policy 3305 privacy policy?
I move that we approve policy 3305 student privacy plan. Oh, no, there were no changes, right?
Oh, I see.
Student privacy plan.
This one was the one with changes, right?
Yes.
Yes. This is the one with, we had talked about the changes that had been in the email.
Correct.
Okay, so with the recommended changes made in study session.
Okay. Great. Okay, motion made by Board Member Hales. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Board Member Boyce. Is there any further discussion to the motion? And we'll start with Gina. Okay. Any other discussion? Okay. Because we have one of our board members is attending virtually, because of that, the policy is that we take a roll call vote for all of our items. And I think tonight for this we'll begin every time with Lisa, and then Melanie will have you go last, which will be after Gina. So, okay, so we'll take a roll call vote. Lisa Boyce, aye.
Terry McKay, bye.
Jennifer Partridge, aye.
Meg Van Wagenen, aye.
Gina Hales, aye.
Melanie Hall, aye.
Okay, the motion passes unanimously. Okay. Next on our business items is the consideration to approve our grandma policy.
So this policy just replaces the current policy by providing a few updates. The primary updates that are listed is we identify correctly the records officers as Devin Daly, Jason Cox, and Caleb Price, as well as Clint Smith, who's over student records. It also updates that those grandma requests need to go through the official records site through the state of Utah. That way we can track all of those requests and how we're responding to them and that we're doing so in a timely way. So that's why there's only the one reading, is it's a replacement policy to just update that information. It isn't, it's just changing that procedure of how those are requested. It isn't changing anything in the law or the way in which we're doing that or the requirement to comply with it.
All right, thank you. All right, do we have a motion to approve policy 7040?
I move that we approve policy 7040, records access and management, grandma policy without any changes, I think, right? Correct. No.
Okay, thank you. Motion made by Board Member Boyce. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Hales. Any discussion to the motion, starting with Board Member Boyce? Okay, anyone else? Okay, we'll go ahead and take a roll call vote, starting with Board Member Boyce.
Lisa Boyce, aye.
Terry McKay, bye.
Jennifer Partridge, aye.
Meg Van Wagenen, aye.
Gina Hales, aye.
Melanie Hall, aye.
Okay, this motion passes unanimously. All right, item number 3, consideration to approve our statement of culture and belonging.
It's belonging.
Statement of belonging, right?
It is belonging.
It is
isn't
belonging.
Okay, sorry. Belonging.
This statement replaces the current diversity, equity, and inclusion statement that the district has had posted. We want to make sure that it still captures the spirit of the intent of that statement, but also want to make sure that it's in alignment with the new regulations of Utah state law. This has gone through 2 readings, and we did talk about some feedback that had come through our in our study session, but really it's just about making sure that we provide what each student needs to be successful, and making sure that we have that every single member of our community is valued, seen, and heard.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion to approve our statement of culture and belonging?
I move that we approve the statement of culture and inclusion as discussed. Am I saying that right?
Culture and belonging.
Sorry,
Belonging,
okay,
it
yeah.
should say
I
culture
know,
and
okay.
belonging.
I move that we approve the statement of culture and belonging as discussed in study session.
Okay, motion made by Board Member Van Wagenen. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Hales. Any discussion to the motion? Starting with Board Member Van Wagenen. Anything?
I just want to say, I think it's something important about Provo City that we really do recognize, both as a school district and I believe I see all the time as a city, the value that comes from just every person really being seen and valued. And so I appreciate this statement. I think it's important part of our priorities here in Provo schools. I love when I see our teachers really doing this with our students, and the way it makes those students feel. I think it's great. So thank you for the work on this.
Thank you. All right, we'll go ahead and take a roll call vote. Go ahead, Lisa.
Lisa Boyce, aye.
Terry McKay, bye.
Jennifer Partridge, aye.
Meg Van Wagenen, aye.
Gina Hales, aye.
Melanie Hall, aye.
Okay, motion passes unanimously. Item number 4, consideration to approve our collective bargaining agreements. Wendy or
Jason, do you
Jason?
want to do that?
Okay, we're gonna have
Collective bargaining?
Jason speak on our collective bargaining for those who maybe did not see our study session.
Thank you for this opportunity. We have our 3 collective bargaining agreements in front of you tonight. As you heard from the public comment section, things went very well, and I think that you as a school board deserves a thank you, and we also want to recognize our superintendent and business administrator for their work in this process, because I believe they helped our employees feel valued, both in the financial gain that they were receiving, but also just in the working conditions, things that we discussed through the negotiation process. So I want to say thank you to you, but we do have those agreements in front of you today. Each of the groups is receiving an increase of both a step and a percentage. And then there's longevity pieces built in for both our classified and certified employees, and then a one-time pay for our admin agreement. So.
Thank you.
You bet.
All right, do we have a motion to approve this?
I move that we approve the collective bargaining agreements as discussed in study session.
Okay, motion made by Board Member Boyce. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Hales. All right, any discussion to the motion?
Just we're so grateful for our teachers and our administrators, and Jason, I know he plays a big role in this, so thank you to you and the work of your team. Just I'm pleased to see what I think is a good set of agreements for everybody.
Thank you, Lisa. I actually was myself going to say thank you to especially Jason. We know that you spend a lot of time and you're giving the credit to lots of other people, but we know it's a lot on you as well. So thank you, and to the rest of the team that's worked with that. So, and for representing us well in those negotiations. So, okay, we will go ahead and take our roll call vote.
Lisa Boyce, aye.
Terry McKay, bye.
Jennifer Partridge, aye.
Meg Van Wagenen, aye.
Gina Hales, aye.
Melanie Hall, aye.
All right, the motion passes unanimously. Okay, item number 5, consideration to approve our fiscal year 25 budget as the Board of Education and as the Municipal Building Authority. Devin.
This is just our budget on this one for the FY25 budget. And any questions? I think, is there anything you'd like me to say about the budget? I think I've talked about it a lot.
If anybody just tuned in, we spoke about it today in our study session. We've spoken about it in past study sessions, and there was a public hearing earlier tonight before this meeting where Devin also spoke on it there. So you can go back and look at all of that. So do we have a motion to approve our fiscal year 25 budget? And if you can read the language in there.
I move that we approve the second reading of the FY25 budget as the PCSD Board, Provo City School District Board of Education and as the Municipal Building Authority.
Great job. Okay, motion made by Board Member Hales. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Board Member Van Wagenen. Do we have any more discussion on this item? Talked about it a lot. All right, we'll go ahead and take our roll call vote, starting with Lisa.
Lisa Boyce, aye.
Terry McCabe, aye.
Jennifer Partridge, aye.
Meg Van Wagenen, aye.
Gina Hales, aye.
Melanie Hall, aye.
All right, motion passes unanimously. Are we ready with our Provo Way Awards? Okay, we're gonna keep going. Item number H. Item H, consent calendar. Do we have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I move that we approve the items on the consent calendar.
Okay, motion made by Board Member Van Wagenen. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Board Member Boyce. Do we have any more discussion on the matter? Okay. We will go ahead and take our roll call vote.
Lisa Boyce, aye.
Terry McCabe, aye.
Jennifer Partridge, aye.
Meg Van Wagenen, aye.
Gina Hales, aye.
Melanie Hall, aye.
Okay, that passes unanimously.
They might be ready for the video.
Are we ready? Okay. We will now jump back to item F1, our Provo Way Award recognition. And thank you to everybody in our team who was working hard to get this ready.
I wanted to mention the same thing. I apologize that I've caused a little stress to our PR team because I should have previewed the video a little bit better tonight before we got going. But I want to say how much we appreciate the work that they do on a regular basis. Our PR team does an amazing job. They were able to find the correct video and get it all put together in just those few minutes. But we have an amazing group of people tonight that we're recognizing. Again, we have Emma Hernandez, Mark Van Wagner, Lisa Edwards Springhurst, Aurora Yenchik, and Melissa Brown. These are great employees, and again, we value this opportunity to go out and recognize them. So thank you.
He can connect with all of the students quickly. He keeps his humor going and it breaks a lot of barriers. He loves what he does. He has such a passion for the plants and the greenhouse and for horticulture. And as you can see how beautiful all of this is, he does this every year and it always turns out spectacular.
I have been just consistently impressed with what Miss Brown does here. She promotes confidence. Students at the school come to watch the shows and cheer each other on, and it's like just the neatest feeling to see so much support from all of the students in the audience and then afterwards cheering everybody on.
She's phenomenal. She's been amazing for the school, and I know Seth and AJ would say the same thing. And just to see the care and the work and effort that you put into helping these kids with any struggle they have or helping them with with their schoolwork has been pretty awesome to watch. So
Thank you
you're a
so
great
much.
coworker and a great example and influence on these kids.
Mrs. Bringhurst has been so helpful to me that I feel like my teaching has been elevated because of Mrs. Bringhurst sharing all her years of experience. Our entire sixth grade and our entire school is a better place.
Every day she's always coming in positive and happy. She helps not only her kids, but she's always willing to go above and beyond for the teachers whenever they need her and for us as staff. She's really good with like compliance and good with talking with parents, and she just always takes everything one step further to make these kids feel loved, to make us as her coworkers feel valued.
Well, even though they're not here tonight, we want to thank these wonderful educators and people who make our district such a wonderful place to be, and wish we could shake their hands, but glad they're off relaxing and enjoying a break from a wonderful, yet I'm sure very busy school year. So thank you. Okay, we are now to item I, our student board member report. And I'll turn it over to Will Widener.
So yeah, not much has happened since our last board meeting besides I graduated.
And
Yeah, but yeah, I'm really excited to see where our new student members, what they'll do, how they'll take the position and kind of model it to meet the needs of the district. But I've really enjoyed this entire experience, and something Momi said to me at graduation was that I now have the experience and qualifications to serve on a school board. So, and just everything I've learned, because I know that the initial idea for this is for there to be student representation, but I've also just been able to learn so much. I now know about strategic planning, budgets, tax increment financing agreement. Just I've learned so much through all of this, and I've really enjoyed it. Any questions?
Does anyone have anything they want to? Yeah, Gina.
I would like to thank Will and Max for being my guinea pigs. Appreciate it. I think it's been a good experiment, and I appreciate that this takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of effort, and you've done that. I'm very appreciative of your help as we've been trying to figure out the program. And I do think that you're very qualified now to serve on a school board of education, so you should consider that in the future, or to be our full-time counsel for policy. But thank you. I just wanted to thank you and Max, wherever he may be, for that and for your help that's coming up to train our upcoming board members. But it has been great to work with you, and I appreciate all of the efforts and all the time that you've put into this and that you've taken it very seriously.
Thank you.
I feel like you've kind of been our student board member for 2 years, because during the whole year of getting this launched, I watched you show up at every meeting, sit through the whole time, be engaged. Anyway, I just thank you for your example of really being present and also contributing. So thanks.
Thank you.
I've loved it. I think it's been awesome. So I just really appreciate the time that you put in and just how much you have taken away from it and brought to it. So that's been incredible. So
That was fun to hear how much you've learned from it as well too. But yes, I echo these comments myself, and just have appreciated working with you and learning from you, and thank you for the role that you've played and the time you've put into it. And we will miss you, and we wish you best of luck on all that you're doing next. So we won't be surprised if we see you back here or in similar civic engagement kinds of things in the future. So great job. Thank you.
You will.
thanks, Will.
All right, next, item J, our business administrator report.
So I would like to highlight, tomorrow is Mitch Swenson's last day at the district. He is retiring. And I appreciate all the work he's done and put in to help our schools become more energy efficient. We were just awarded 16 of our 18 schools as Energy Star buildings, which there was a very small reference to the district when the city was announced as an Energy Star city. But the biggest portion of that is our buildings. The two schools that do not qualify are Tentview, because it is under construction. They won't consider a school under construction, and Provo Peaks, because there's too many preschoolers at Provo Peaks. So go figure. There's a rule of kids under 5 and compared to the number of students in the school, and so that building doesn't qualify.
So it doesn't count as a school.
It counts as a school, it just doesn't count as Energy Star certified, even though it is energy efficient. Because of the number of preschoolers there, they won't award it. So I consider them Energy Star too.
Okay. Too much energy.
There's a lot of energy with preschool. I know. Doesn't make sense to me.
Maybe they use up more.
Energy.
They use up a lot of energy. Yeah, they consume energy a lot more. I think
They produce a lot of energy.
they do produce a lot of energy, but I'm more tired when I'm around them. So.
All right. Was that everything? That was. I didn't mean to cut you off. Were you done?
Oh, you're
yes.
good. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm done.
Great. Thank you, and thank you to Mitch for all of his work in our district over the years in many capacities. So, okay. Next is our board member roundtable, where our board members report on different committees and assignments. I'm going to try something new today. I'm just going to say who wants to share something. Who's got something?
I totally forgot. But we are currently trying to get we just had the city council come through to see Shoreline. Well, one member of the city council. And then we're also trying to get our legislators to come through and then have a meeting with them about some things. So legislative committee, we've been watching the subcommittees, the legislative subcommittees, and trying to contact our legislators to continue the conversations that we've been having with them. We've also been meeting with potential candidates who want to meet with us, which has been great. I don't know if we've had that before, candidates reaching out to us to meet with us about education issues. So that's been really good. And then student board member report, I think, just went, so.
Okay, other reports? Terry?
I wrote out something about, so on Friday and Saturday we attended me and Jennifer and Wendy and Gina all attended the Utah School Board Association delegate assembly. I am a delegate and Gina was a delegate, so we got to vote. Jennifer spoke on behalf of the opposed neutral, what do you call it?
The position on what will be Amendment A on the ballot.
And she did a really good job. I took a little snippet of a video. But a 2/3 vote was not achieved, which means the Joint Legislative Committee vote for conditional support for March 1st stands. I am disappointed in this outcome, and we will be discussing it in LegCom on Monday. That's it.
Okay. Lisa?
I just was going to mention, tomorrow we have a board meeting for the foundation, the Provo City School District Foundation. And I know that employees and community members who are on that foundation board are working hard to get ready for our Provo School District Golf Tournament, which is one of our big ways that we raise the funds for things like supporting Camp Big Springs, teacher mini grants, after school programs. And just to get the date out there on everyone's calendar, it is Thursday, September 26th. So save the date and come golf and do something great for the students and teachers in our district.
Great. Okay. Melanie, is there anything that you wanted to report?
No, I'm good right now.
Okay. Do you have anything? Okay. Thank you, Terry, for sharing the School Board Association Delegate Assembly. The other item from the School Board Association is that they have called for, made a request for anyone who would like to present or have ideas for presenters for our annual conference that happens in January. So if you guys have any ideas or things like, hey, we should really highlight this great thing we're doing in our district and share it with the other districts, please share that with me, and we'll put in the request to do so. And then I also just want to report on Kindness Committee. We had a great meeting last month, and Wendy was able to come, and we had just a great conversation about the direction to go moving forward with integrating the efforts that we've already been doing and working on as a committee over the years with Wendy's desire to increase our focus on PBIS and creating this culture, as we've been talking about, this culture of belonging and just a great place where people want to be, which I think we're talking about with our strategic plan as well. So we're going to keep moving forward on that. Were there any other reports anybody had? Okay. Great. Then we'll turn it over to Wendy for the superintendent's report.
So I just wanted to update you that there were 2 travel requests that have gone through and been approved. Provo High School Drama and Dance Company going to Cedar City in October, and then also Provo High School football will be attending a football camp in Cedar City at the end of this month. I just wanted to highlight kind of 3 things that we've been working on, and Meg mentioned it, so I won't hash this out too long, but we did do a leadership institute with our administrators, and just want to give a shout out to every single person that was involved in putting that together. Jason Cox and Daryl Jensen and Jared Seitz did an amazing job of just putting all of those pieces together. We really focused on PLCs, and we focused on just trying to really embed and take our schools to the next level. And so anyway, it was a really good lots of team building and good experiences there. The second thing is that we have started a boot camp for our new administrators because we have so many new assistant principals. We did our first session last week. We have another session tomorrow. And it was amazing how many individuals just said thank you. Like, I feel very overwhelmed, but at least now I know that there are individuals who can help us with this. And so they gave us some good ideas of some additional things that we can do to support them. We will be continuing that boot camp through all of next year, so meeting almost once a month with those new administrators to continue to provide that support. I think that's something that hasn't been in place. And then the last thing I wanted to share was talked a lot about, how much time we spend in meetings talking about certain things sometimes reveals the priorities that we have as a district. And today in MTSS, we had Nate Mitchell walk us through a lot of our data as a district and started to dive into data as a school and started to formulate the kinds of questions that we need to help our principals be asking and working with our teachers on. So like when you see this, what are the types of things that we can support them with, but then also what are the things we need to be doing as a district to be supporting the principals to support the teachers, because right now I feel like what we're doing is we're shoving all of that onto principals and teachers, and we need to be taking on that responsibility and figuring out where are we not providing that support. And I got several text messages after that meeting from individuals in MTSS saying that was the best discussion we've ever had in MTSS. And so I feel like we're moving in the right direction to have the right conversations. So I'm excited and rejuvenated by that. So that's it.
Wonderful, thank you. I'm excited to hear about that. That's fantastic. And I want to thank you and your whole team. Like, I think I can speak for the whole board in saying that we just appreciate all the effort, the time, the attention, the heart that you put into what you do. And it's very clear that you have our students and our teachers in mind, what's best for them and how to support them, and you're very thoughtful about the approach and what can we do to make our efforts go further, right? To be strategic in that. And we appreciate all that you guys are doing, and hope that everybody takes some time this summer to really rejuvenate and take a break from work and get some relaxation in so you can come back strong again for next school year, right? I also want to thank our communications team and our tech people and our administrative assistant for all the work that you do to support us generally and especially at our meeting today. And do we have a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn our business meeting.
Yes, okay, thank you, Board Member Van Wagenen. We are adjourned.